The more you pour your energy into dissecting his silence, into trying to decode his every unsaid word or unspoken gesture, the more you risk losing your own voice, your own profound inner wisdom. This is the subtle erosion that often goes unnoticed, veiled by the fervent desire for connection. Yet, as the radiant archetype of Radha reveals, true devotion empowers your I. It doesn't diminish it. Many women stand at a crossroads, navigating relationships that feel less like partnerships and more like silent energy drains. Perhaps you find yourself perpetually questioning your worth, constantly seeking validation from a partner who seems emotionally distant. Or perhaps you feel an inexplicable emptiness even when he is physically present. This isn't a superficial relationship dilemma. It's a profound spiritual challenge. You're not just feeling unheard, you might be experiencing a deeper, more insidious form of depletion, the slow, gradual draining of your very soul. You've likely tried every piece of advice out there. Communicate more, give him space, focus on yourself. But deep down, the same gnawing feeling persists. The same patterns of anxiety and self-doubt resurface. This isn't because you lack love or effort. It's because you might be operating from a misidentified sense of self, attaching your worth to external reactions rather than anchoring it in your inherent sovereignty. Raja Yoga teaches us that the mind is a powerful instrument, meant to serve the I, will of the I, your true self. When we allow external circumstances, particularly the actions or inactions of another, to dictate our inner state, we inadvertently surrender our most precious possession, our internal power. This isn't about blaming your partner. It's about taking back control of your inner world, understanding how relationships, even seemingly loving ones, can become conduits for this silent depletion. Today, we're going to perform what I call the Gita test, a series of introspective inquiries rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. This isn't a diagnostic tool for him. It's a profound lens for self-observation, designed to illuminate the subtle ways your soul might be surrendering its vital energy, pulling you away from your own dharma and deepest purpose. It's an invitation to understand where your internal sovereignty might be compromised, and how to reclaim it, not through external demands, but through profound self-mastery and an unwavering connection to your authentic I. Are you ready to discern if your partnership is truly nourishing your soul or subtly siphoning its essence? The first sign your partner might be draining your soul is a gradual, often imperceptible erosion of your authentic I in his presence or even in his absence, as your thoughts become perpetually consumed by him. Consider the teaching from the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna instructs Arjuna on the nature of the self, the Atman, distinct from the temporary body and fluctuating mind. When we enter a partnership, especially one charged with intense chemistry or deep emotional investment, it's remarkably easy to unconsciously begin identifying ourselves not with our eternal Atman, but with the role we play in the relationship, with his perception of us, or even with the success or failure of the bond itself. This is the subtle erosion, the moment you start defining your peace, your worth, or your happiness primarily through his actions, his validation, or his presence. You find yourself shaping your opinions, suppressing your true desires, or altering your natural behaviors just to maintain harmony or to elicit a desired response from him. Perhaps you used to be fiercely independent, but now his infrequent texts send you spiraling into doubt. Or you once pursued your passions with vigor, but now your energy is constantly diverted to analyzing his moods, his words, or his perceived withdrawal. This isn't love. It's a form of internal surrender. Your sovereignty is being compromised not by force, but by your own unconscious choice to externalize your center of power. The anguish you feel, that crushing disappointment, the pervasive sense of being misunderstood, or the terror of his potential abandonment, is not merely about him. It's your Atman, your true self, signaling that its rightful position as the sovereign observer is being usurped. Your dharma, your unique life purpose and path begins to blur when your entire existence revolves around another. This leads to a profound question, an alchemical inquiry for your soul. What part of your Atman does this constant seeking of his validation, this fear of his judgment, this desperate craving for his consistent presence truly reveal? It reveals the mind, manas, taking control, mistaking the fleeting vrittis, fluctuations of emotion and thought, for the unshakable I. The Bhagavad Gita teaches the importance of acting according to your own dharma, independent of the fruits of action, emphasizing detachment from outcomes. When your inner peace becomes entirely dependent on a desired outcome from him, you are deeply attached to the fruit, not to your dharma. Reclaiming your I means returning to that internal wellspring, understanding that your worth is intrinsic, not externally bestowed. This is the first step towards transforming what feels like a soul drain into a powerful awakening of your internal sovereignty. The second sign, perhaps the most insidious, is mistaking intense, overwhelming chemistry for a profound soul connection, when it might actually be a complex karmic entanglement. Many women fall into this trap, believing that the sheer intensity of initial attraction, the feeling of knowing someone instantly, or the roller coaster of emotions, signifies destiny. Yet, from a Vedic perspective, particularly through the Gita test, we learn to discern between a true dharma-aligned partnership and a karmic pattern playing out. A deep karmic bond can feel incredibly magnetic, almost addictive, because it represents an unfinished lesson, a spiritual debt or pattern that needs to be resolved. It's often accompanied by profound highs and devastating lows, a constant push-pull that drains your mental and emotional energy rather than nurturing your sovereignty. This brings us to a powerful technique pradika, a micro-exercise in self-observation using the Gita test for discerning the true nature of your connection. This isn't about blaming anyone, but about gaining radical clarity on the energetic dynamics at play. The Gita test. 3 questions for discernment. 1. Does this relationship align with my highest purpose, dharma? Take a moment to reflect. Does this relationship expand your sense of self and your unique contribution to the world? Or does it contract it? Does it inspire you to live your dharma fully, pursuing your passions and embodying your highest will? Or do you find yourself compromising your values, dimming your light, or setting aside your purpose to accommodate his? A truly dharmic connection should feel like a wind beneath your wings, not an anchor around your soul. Radha's devotion to Krishna, while profound, never diminished her individual essence. Rather, it amplified it, making her an example of self-possessed love. 2. Am I repeating a karmic pattern here? Observe the patterns. Do you find yourself reliving familiar dynamics, attracting emotionally unavailable men, or perpetually seeking validation from those who cannot give it? This intense chemistry could be a recycled karma, a vritti of the mind that's familiar but ultimately unproductive. This is where your sovereignty truly comes into play. The recognition that you have the will to break these cycles. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of liberating oneself from the binds of karma through conscious action and detachment from results. 3. Am I experiencing my true I, Atman, more fully? Look inward. Are you more authentically you in this relationship, or are you constantly trying to become what you imagine he needs you to be? Is your inner peace dependent on his approval, or is it an unwavering state fueled by your own self-mastery? True devotion, as exemplified by Radha, is not the annihilation of the self, but the conscious union of 2 sovereign souls, each deepening their connection to the divine, within themselves and in the other. If you feel like your light is dimming, or your essence is being diluted, it's a profound sign from your soul. This observation is the first step towards reclaiming your full power and discerning the true nature of your deepest bonds. The third, and perhaps most prevalent sign of soul draining, is when your internal state of peace, your very sense of well-being, becomes entirely contingent upon his actions, his communication, or his consistent presence. This is the subtle erosion of your sovereignty, where the mind, manas, instead of being a tool of your will, buddhi, becomes a reactive puppet to external stimuli. You find yourself caught in the incessant loop of anticipating his call, overanalyzing his text messages, or feeling a profound void in his silence. This is the power of your sovereign I being ceded to external circumstances, allowing the vrittis, fluctuations of the mind, to be dictated by another's world. Consider this: when your day, your mood, your entire emotional landscape is shaped by whether he texted back, by the tone of his voice, or by his perceived level of interest, you have effectively handed over the keys to your inner kingdom. The sovereignty that Raja Yoga teaches us to cultivate, the self-mastery over thoughts and emotions, is sacrificed at the altar of external validation. The profound pain you experience when he pulls away, when he's silent, or when you feel unseen, is not merely loneliness. It is the cry of your true self, signaling that its inherent power is being diluted, its dharma sidelined, and its will overridden by the desperate craving for an external outcome. The invisible error here is not that you care, but that you have allowed his actions to become the sole arbiter of your self-worth and internal equilibrium. You are attempting to control the mind of another, or at least predict its movements, before mastering your own. The truth of desapego, non-attachment, often misunderstood as indifference, is precisely this: the liberation from the frantic need for external outcomes to define your internal state. It's the profound recognition that your peace is an internal creation, an act of will from your sovereign I, independent of karma playing out around you. The Bhagavad Gita repeatedly emphasizes the importance of performing your duty, dharma, without attachment to the results. Similarly, in your relationships, your devotion and love should stem from the abundance of your own soul, not from a deficit seeking to be filled by his actions. When your peace becomes his responsibility, it becomes a fleeting, precarious thing. Reclaiming your sovereignty means understanding that while you cannot control his will or actions, you have absolute power over your own mind and your internal response. This shift from external dependence to internal self-mastery is the true path to an ineffable peace. In recognizing these three powerful signs, the erosion of your authentic I, the confusion of karmic intensity for true soul connection, and the surrender of your inner peace to external actions, you begin to understand a profound truth. The more you try to hold on to a relationship that subtly drains you, the less you truly hold on to yourself. This is the paradox of attachment. In seeking external fulfillment, we often lose sight of our inherent sovereignty and the limitless power residing within our own soul. The Gita test is not a judgment, but a lamp guiding you inward, illuminating where your sovereignty may be compromised. It's an invitation to embark on a journey of profound self-observation, moving beyond the superficial narratives of relationships and diving deep into the true nature of yourself. Raja Yoga teaches that your will is the supreme master, capable of bringing the mind and emotions into perfect alignment with the I. This means you possess the innate capacity to observe the vrittis, those restless thoughts and emotional fluctuations that arise when your peace is threatened, and gently yet firmly bring them back to your center. Your deepest desire is not just for a relationship, but for an unwavering sense of peace and wholeness. That sovereignty is not found by manipulating external circumstances or by seeking constant validation from another. It is forged in the crucible of your own self-mastery, through the conscious choice to identify with the unshakable I, rather than with the transient joys and sorrows of the non-I, the outer world of relationships. Take these signs as a profound message from your soul, a sacred prompt to examine where you might be unconsciously giving away your power. The path to liberation in relationships begins not by trying to change him, but by changing your own internal landscape, activating the sovereignty of your will, and reconnecting with the boundless devotion to your own sacred dharma. Imagine the vastness of the ocean. Each wave, though seemingly a distinct entity, is fundamentally one with the ocean itself. Similarly, your individual I, your Atman, is a unique expression of the universal soul, complete and whole in its essence, whether it merges with another or stands in its singular sovereignty. The wisdom of Vedanta reminds us that our true nature is Satchidananda, eternal, conscious bliss. When we feel drained, it is often because we have forgotten this inherent wholeness, mistaking the drop for the ocean, and seeking our completeness outside ourselves. The archetype of Radha, often seen as the epitome of devotion, never lost her intrinsic sovereignty in her love for Krishna. Her devotion was not an act of self-annihilation, but an ecstatic expansion of her own divine essence. She loved with complete surrender, yet that surrender was rooted in an absolute knowing of her own self, Atman, and will. Her love amplified her power. It didn't diminish it. She teaches us that true connection, whether karmic or dharmic, can be a path for spiritual growth, but only if our soul remains anchored in its own truth, not tossed by the winds of another's actions or inactions. Your journey, illuminated by the Gita test, is one of reclaiming this inherent sovereignty, transforming experiences of soul draining into powerful catalysts for self-mastery. It's about understanding that every relationship, every challenge, every moment of pain or disappointment is a unique opportunity presented by karma to align more deeply with your dharma. It's a chance to exercise your will, to observe the mind's tendencies, and to choose liberation over attachment. The Bhagavad Gita whispers to us, "Set thy heart upon thy work, but never on its reward." Your work is to cultivate your soul, to remain sovereign, and to love from a place of fullness, not emptiness. This is the true meaning of devotion to yourself and to the divine. If this video has stirred a deeper reflection within your own I, if it has illuminated subtle truths about your relationships and your journey towards sovereignty, then pause. Take a moment to truly feel the resonance of these insights. This path of self-mastery and devotion is not meant to be walked alone. Share your experience in the comments below, allowing your voice to contribute to our collective understanding. If this profound inquiry has helped you reflect on your own soul's journey, consider extending its reach by liking this video and sharing this new reflection with those who might also be seeking clarity and sovereignty. Your engagement helps our Sangha, our spiritual community, grow, offering a sacred space for women who are truly committed to transforming their relationships from within, forging an ineffable peace rooted in the wisdom of Raja Yoga and Vedanta. Be part of our community.